Well, Sri Lanka signed off in style from the tournament. The West Indies, too, at least as far as their batting effort is concerned, have also done the same. They've stamped their authority. They've put on a very decent total on the board and, of course, entertained in the process as well. Right at the end, 111-meter six from Dre Russ to add to Karen Pollard's 44. Evan Lewis was good up front. Hetmeyer maybe didn't quite get going, but a few cameos towards the end took them to a very respectable 157 for 7. Not necessarily going to be plain sailing for the Australians. Certainly a challenge lies ahead. How much of a challenge? We'll try and assess it with our experts on Cricbuzz Live. Zaheer Khan, Dinesh Karthik. TK, let me come straight to you. It's someone you know really well. We've been missing the Dre Russ factor in this tournament. But that 111-meter six, you could see the reaction in the stands. They were waiting for it.
Very true. Very true. I think it's always good to see Dre Russ in full flow. We've all missed him for a while now. Injuries have kept him out of the game. But when he does hit a ball, I mean, I don't think there are many in the world who can hit it as long as he does. And that pull shot was a special shot. Mitchell Starc was bowling really well up till then, going at run a ball. To take him down with those kind of shots requires a special effort. And Dre Russ is always up to the party when the team is in town. Definitely a great sight to watch.
But overall, Zach, you'd have to say a good batting effort. A little stutter early on, but this is exactly what the West Indies are known for. The all-rounders come in, they contribute. Pollard, Bravo, Russell, Holder didn't get much of a chance, but they've just added that kick that we are used to seeing from them.
Well, halfway mark, both the teams will be very happy. I feel looking at West Indies, how they've been so far in the tournament, they'll be happy with laying that platform to start with, and then reaching to a total which they'll be happy to say that they'll be able to defend. We've seen Australian bowling as well has been very good. I think it was a good contest between bowling and batting. And halfway mark, you're actually looking at West Indies saying, okay, we have enough runs to defend, and Australia will be saying, I think if start of the game you ask that, okay, this kind of a batting lineup, we're able to restrict them to 157 on a track which has been predominantly a good batting track so far in the tournament. I think they'll also be very happy with this effort.
Yeah, fair point. I think that's what you'd look at. Had Dre Russ got maybe 10 more balls, it could have been 180, 190, and that's the sort of total that Australia would maybe have been disappointed with. But I think this is one of those totals both sides would go in there and saying we're in with a chance. But TK, we already mentioned one of the two stalwarts at Cricbuzz Combox. That is, of course, Christopher Henry Gale. Another bit of an exit, a dramatic, an emotional exit for DJ Bravo. Do you reckon pushed up the order just to give him a little bit more time?
Maybe. I think obviously we all know that Russell comes in at the end of 15 overs. So the fact that DJ Bravo did come in a way is obviously to give him a nice little send-off. He batted pretty decently. Obviously didn't get too many boundaries, but he looked good. But that is very much a testament of how he's grown as a T20 player. He's become more of a bowler who can bat than a batsman who can bowl, which is how he started playing international cricket, and he's transformed into that these days. And the second half of what's going to happen between West Indies and Australia, a lot of it, at least for West Indies, will build around DJ Bravo. For the batting, it was Chris Gale. For bowling, I think the person they'll all be sending an emotional send-off would be Dwayne Bravo. I think he's been an absolute champion over the years for world cricket, in fact, and he's been a consistent member of various franchises for a lot of tournaments around the world. He's been very good at what he does, and he's just completely transformed himself into being the death over specialist over a period of time. And it is an absolute pleasure to watch him bowl and do what he does over a period of time.
Yeah, interesting. It was actually I had a chat with him in the Caribbean this time and was asking him about his performances at ODIs in white ball cricket, Zach, and he said the turning point, DK mentioned, started out as a batting all-rounder, switched, and he feels the turning point happened with that one delivery he bowled to Yuvraj Singh when India in an ODI needed just a handful of runs, and UV had played a great innings, but Bravo got him with that slower ball, and he had not really tried it before in a pressure situation, and ever since then it's become his trademark.
Absolutely, and so many bowlers must have come up to him during all these matches, end of the game. you go and a lot of the guys asking you about how you bowl that slow one delivery. It's actually it's so amazing to see that one delivery has got him so much of success. Even though as a batter that okay, he's going to bowl that delivery, it's still very difficult for you to line yourself up to hit him for a six or a boundary. His whole success rate has been around that one particular delivery, and that is so important, that how you use it as well. That's something which you see with Bravo right throughout his career. He's always in the game. He's a thinking cricketer, thinking bowler. You'll see him try different things as well, and understanding what is going to work for him, or how he can stay one step ahead of what batters are looking to counter his style of bowling. You have seen him go actually over the wicket, round the wicket. He's someone who has started doing that, going around the wicket, really going to the edge of the crease, and from there creating that awkward angle, maybe the angle which usually works for left-hand bowlers. So that shows that he's always been a thinking cricketer, and amazing what he has achieved with his bowling. Especially playing so many games, and how many wickets he's got? I think over 500 wickets he's
Over
got
500,
in
yes.
this format. So just simply amazing achievement.
Yeah, well, let's get the batsman's perspective, because as someone who's obviously batted at various stages of the innings, but of late, obviously known to be a bit of a finisher, you would have come up against DJ Bravo a few times, the finisher with the bat, the finisher with the ball. Knowing that that slow ball is coming, is there other ways for you to counter it?
Yes, as a batter, obviously, because he's not express pace, you're always looking for the slow one, and more often than not, what Zach said is right. It's still hard to pick him, but the best way to play him and the most effective way as a middle order batsman to counter him is to look for that slower ball, look for that loopy off spinner at bowls, and then in case he goes for the Yorker, obviously react to that. The only issue becomes you can't hit a Yorker because you're looking for the slow one, so obviously your downswing is slightly slower. I don't want to get too technical here, but the best way to do it to counter Bravo is try and do that. And the good part about him and why he is so successful is he more often than not nails his Yorker pretty decently as well. That's why he's been very successful. And he's a bit of a, in many ways, he's a bit of an attacking death over specialist, because he could go for 10, 12 runs, but he gets wickets. And then you'll see his usual dance after that, which is very irritating if you're a batter. But for everybody else around the world, I'm sure it's a lot of fun to watch. But he's a lovely guy. I think, around the world, all the franchises that he's played for, he's been a leader for many franchises. He's done well there as well. And, he's a very warm personality. He's a terrific guy to be around.
That last word that you mentioned in terms of leadership, we've in different franchises has made a huge difference as someone players look up to. But purely coming back to the cricket in terms of this West Indian effort, if we have a look at the innings progression, it's been one of those that was almost stop-start. If you have a look at this, they started off really well. Fact is, they lost those 3 wickets. Then that consolidation phase in the innings, and then the 11.6 at the end. So they'll be reasonably pleased with it. Zach, maybe that middle phase, in hindsight, they would have said, could we have upped it a bit?
Well, I think it was equally good bowling as well. If you see Australia's bowling plans and how they use the short ball also in the right throughout the innings, Josh Hazelwood going for that expensive over first over, but for a bowler to come back and then take 2 wickets in an over, really shows that how he was able to keep his calm and understanding. This is how this format goes. So your 1 over can be expensive, but if you stay positive, you can have an impact on the game. So that's why I was actually suggesting that it was an even game between bat and ball. You had a good approach of West Indies, starting off well, but then you had bowling of Australia, who controlled things and not really let the game slip away from them.
Yeah, Zampa, of course, was brilliant, but you also noticed there on that bowling card that the 5th bowler actually ended up being more economical than all the top 3 pace bowlers in Hazelwood, Stark and Cummins. So I think that will be a bit of a positive for Australia. But quick one on the batting order. We saw Jason Holder sort of stride in at number 9. Do you think, again, going now into a possible semi-final, if of course things go their way, not for West Indies, why am I jumping the gun there? Going ahead, if Jason Holder remains a part of this setup, Is he someone who can be used further up the order, DK?
No, I think Jason Holder is a very good player of fast bowling. But when it comes to spin, I don't think he's great at rotating strike. And he is still better off batting anywhere after the 14th, 15th over. In fact, he's got a nice downswing of the bat. I think even for Barbados Tridents, he batted up the order, and he didn't really succeed as much as he's done when he's batted slightly below. What they need to look at is where do they need to send a Puran. The shot that he played today was I don't think very acceptable, because in many ways he didn't use the skills that he has. He's somebody who's showing a lot of talent, a lot of potential, but is number three the spot? I don't think so for him. I think I do think they need to sit him down and have a word with him, because he's got a lot of talent, but at this point of time I think he's confused a little bit between the amount of talent and the amount of shots he has to what needs to be played on what wicket. And I know him personally as well. I think he's one of those who thinks very deeply, at times overcomplicates things. That number three slot, they need to find somebody. There's quite a few players, the Brandon Kings and him Rajesh. There are a lot of players in the Caribbean Premier League, and I'm sure we'll find somebody new coming in. But for the moment, these are the spots. Lendl Simmons, whether it's Roston Chase, all these guys will find it hard to come back into the team, and bat at where they have batted. Obviously, if Gale is leaving them, the one player who's looked really good is Evan Lewis. They need to get that batting order right. I really like the way Hetmeyer played as well. He kind of showed me how he's improved as a player, used his brains in many ways, didn't do anything silly, took the game. If they have scored 160 now, a lot of credit must go to Hetmeyer, because obviously a Pat Cummins bowling well, a Hazelwood bowling well. He found a way to just be steady, batted through, and then came back and did what he did. So you need somebody with that calmness, with that shot selection as well. I think shot selection has been a bit of an issue, but sending Holder up the order, I don't think is the answer. I think the long-term answer is to find a right number three, because that's a very crucial place. The teams that have done well over the years in any tournament have had a good number three in play.
Yeah, it's actually been an interesting dilemma, because even in the CPL, he was actually batting too low down the order, and that was a bit of a complaint, because he was the captain and there was too many overs being wasted till he actually came in. I think they need to find the right average slot for him, in a sense. Just a quick one, DK. Karen Pollard, talk about him as an impact player, played his role with the bat, and now he's just sort of fired his first salvo, sent a message to Australia, fielding it forward short leg, got the helmet on. Akil Hussain bowling the first over, doesn't want to let Warner and Finch start dominating.
I've always seen his style of captaincy. He always tries to do something a little flashy at times. When it comes off, it looks very nice. If it doesn't, it looks a tad bit silly. I know he's trying to put pressure on them, impose himself on them. It's okay. I think, I've seen him captain for Trinbago as well. Sometimes he does a little bit out of the box, sometimes things that look better than what it actually appears. But it's okay. As a captain, you'd rather be like that than be too defensive and have a very defensive strategy. I still think 157 is a real good score. But more than Kieran Pollard, the short leg fielder, I'd like to speak about how well he batted today. I think he came in at a very tricky stage. We were 10 over 74 for Woe. We were discussing 150 is a good score, and he showed his experience. That is what a Nicholas Pooran needs to learn. How to bat. Even Pollard has shots. He can hit sixes anytime he wants. But the way he initially played those first 5 to 8 balls and then took them on, that will give Pooran the consistency that is required. And if you see Pollard, he's right in the middle of things in the heat of the battle, but he's played that 44 of 31, but he's got a chunk of the runs in the second half of his 31 balls, which makes the difference sometimes. You need to be a little clever about your batting. A lot of people have shots, but only the clever batters are able to use those shots to be consistent for their country. And I think that's what Pooran needs to learn as well.
Yeah, fair point there. Let's get the final word from Zaheer Khan. DK has already talked about his batting, but staying in there forward short leg, no doubt he won't be silent. He'll have a few pleasantries for Warner and Finch.
Absolutely. So this kind of a total, so on this track, I feel it's like one of those total which you have to create that pressure from the word go, and that's what Pollard is trying to create out there. I still feel that it's going to be difficult for West Indies to defend this total. If you look at the pitch also, and so far how the games have gone on this track, it's a day game, so the other factors are not going to come into play. I have a feeling that the wicket will play better than what we've seen in the first innings, and it's only the aggression of Australian pacers in the middle overs and the spin of Zampa could control things, and maybe on the hindsight and once the game is over, you'll see that the 20-run difference was the difference which we're talking about. 175, 180 would have been a really, really good total. Looking at the West Indies bowling lineup as well, they don't have the aggressive wicket-taking bowlers. So what Pollard also in a way trying to do right now is, create that pressure by setting up those aggressive field where the batsman starts feeling the pressure of the field placement, and get your bowlers more effective right now. Uh, we'll have to see how Hayden Walsh also goes with his game. He's the only change which West Indies have made in this game. We've seen leg spinner and the impact of leg spinner in this format. Also, we've seen with Zampa as well. So the middle overs, the spin is going to be the deciding factor as far as the game is going to go. Even though it's going to be a little tough, I feel, for West Indies to defend its total.
Well, that's the conclusion we have from here. West Indies, interesting, have used spinners from both, and they've got 3 spinning options. Akil Hussain, Roston Chase have opened the bowling. Hayden Walsh is going to come in with his leggies later. But just the final word, I was about, DK, to congratulate you with 2 balls to go. You had got the score spot on, except your man, Dre Russ, spoilt it for you, and 2 sixes handed it to me for the prediction. So that's the way things go.
Well done, Gautam. That's perfect.
Actually, we should say well done, Dre Russ. I mean, it was really a 111-meter 6, another one for the crowd, for his side. But we reckon that a few more runs from him and the others would have been enough. Will it be? We'll assess it in the 10th over on Cricbuzz Combox. For now, from Zaheer Khan, Dinesh Karthik and myself, that's all on Cricbuzz Live.